Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and today's video is going to be a fun one. In today's video, I'm running a team in the Halloween Cup featuring the highest attack Pokemon allowed in that format, in a bit of an homage to Callum on Toast. So I used pvpoke.com, you can sort the rankings by attack stat, and from there I built the team. On the lead, Shadow Hunter, as the save switch, Zoroark, and as the closer, I'm running Shadow Sharpedo. Now it goes without saying, do not try this team if you care about your elo, but against all odds, I was actually able to get a 3-2 set at 30-30 elo. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and we see a Nightmare lead in the first match, leading the Shadow Hunter into Greninja. Greninja basically sweeps this entire team, so I'm in a tremendous amount of trouble. Opponent switches out of the Greninja, and they send in Clefable. This is honestly great for me. I am going to be firing off the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is going to be shielded up. I try and make it to another Sludge Bomb, but my opponent is not going to let that happen. They are going to connect with the Swift and pick up the knockout, denying my energy. Back in comes Haunter, and I need to get massive farm if I have any hope of getting rid of Greninja. I shield up the Moonblast as even a resisted move cannot land against this team. This team is much too frail. In comes Greninja, and I have so much energy on this Shadow Hunter. I'm close to 100. Shadow Punch is going to connect. One in the move, and I'm almost at back-to-back Shadow Punches. I can outpace them. Shadow Punch is shielded. They can't get the move. The energy lead on the Shadow Hunter is too much. Shadow Punch picks up the knockout. In the back is going to be a B-Drill, and this game is over. Shadow Punch from Shadow Hunter. Nearly one-hit KOs. We snipe with a Waterfall from Sharpedo. And that is a good game. The leads are not getting better in the next match, leading the Shadow Hunter into a Drapion. And this is a miserable matchup for the Hunter. I will fire off the Ice Punch. Opponent is going to protect the Drapion as well, and that is just so bad for me. I'm going to shield, and I shield a bait. That's really unfortunate. I'm going to switch out as they make it to the crunch and make a catch onto Zoroark, only to find they baited again, and Aqua Tail almost one-shots me. Opponent now going to switch out into Azumarill. Azumarill is going to be taking massive damage here from the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is able to land. Unfortunately, Azumarill is going to get a big farm down. I do have health on the Haunter, but I don't have a move. My opponent takes advantage of that, and they throw instantly, and that's going to force my final shield. The Drapion does have energy, and that is going to be a complicating factor in this endgame. I do win the CMP tie, but I want to save the Haunter. So I switch into Sharpedo, and I'm going to be able to catch the Aqua Tail. It's resisted, but it sure doesn't look it. In the back is Sableye. Wait. If I can get a Poison Fang, I can win the game, but I don't get the move. If I got that Poison Fang, even though it's resisted, I think it does enough damage that they would have had to shield, and then I could have knocked out with the Shadow Punch and actually had a chance to win the game. But unfortunately, I don't get the charge attack, and I will lose that match. We move to the next match. Terrible lead. Haunter into Shadow Golurk. Immediate save switch into Zoroark, and the Zoroark is honestly pretty consistent at baiting out Azumarill. Azumarill going to get hit with a Sludge Bomb. This is going to hit for massive damage. Opponent does decide to use a shield, and they throw their move instantly. This does give me a Shadow Claw for free, so I'm more than happy to commit the shield and look to farm up before I unleash another Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is going to hit very hard onto the Azumarill. Azumarill is going to let that through, and they're going to be firing off their energy. I can't afford to double shield. I wasn't able to win switch. I just have to go for energy on the Haunter. I can't afford to take a Mud Slap, so I switch into Sharpedo. In the back is a Volt Switch Fortress, and this is bad. I get the crunch, but throwing a crunch would not win me this game. I have to go for a Poison Fang because I need energy on the Haunter if I'm going to win this. So I intentionally go for the Poison Fang. They Rock Tomb to lower my attack. This is to set up a farm down. I'm too off the move. It's all going to come down to this. Can I live 2 Mud Slaps? It looks like I barely can here. And I get the move. Let's go, Shadow Hunter. Shadow Hunter knocking out the Golurk. It looks like I did get the damage registration error there, but after watching it back and consulting with Inadequence, he said that he thought that I would have lived on 1 HP, so we absolutely take those wins. We move to the next match, leading into a Galarian Moltres. Absolutely nightmare lead. These leads have been absolutely unforgiving for our good friend Shadow Haunter. Opponent banked a ton of energy on the Moltres before switching out. They go for Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb will easily KO. I'm going to bring back in the Haunter. Haunter is going to farm up. Shadow Punch may have been able to knock out, but I wanted to guarantee the KO here by going for the Ice Punch, as Ice Punch will KO. In comes Sharpedo, and even an Ancient Power will do way too much damage to Shadow Sharpedo. They go for the Ancient Power. In the back is Ariados, and I just don't see a way that I win this game. Ariados is going to get the lunge debuff here after I shield, and all they have to do is just save 2 shields for the Moltres, and there's no way for me to win. There's the Poison Fang, and there it is, the no shield. They are going to do exactly what I mentioned, just saving 2 shields for the Moltres, shielding once, farming down, and at this point, there's not a reason for me to play out the rest of this game because I have a 0 shield Shadow Haunter. Look at that Sucker Punch damage. I'm immediately conceding. In our decisive Game 5 in this set, I actually pick up a lead, which is not terrible. For the first time all set, we get a lead that Haunter is not just immediately getting destroyed in. The Shadow Punch is going to be shielded, as it could have been a potential Sludge Bomb, and I'm going to be committing the shield as they're going to fire off the Ice Beam. I'm now going to look to farm up a ton of energy just shy of the back-to-back Shadow Punches, and I will be able to outpace as well, meaning that I can win the ones if I want to. So I'm going to do exactly that. Fire off the Shadow Punch at the Azumarill. Azumarill is going to double shield, and my opponent, worried about me making it to another move, is going to throw their energy. This is great. Now I can get farm on either Sharpedo or Zoroark. I choose Zoroark. Zoroark is going to be met with Clodsire. I send in Sharpedo. In the back is Golurk. Golurk gets deleted by Waterfalls. In comes the Clodsire, and I get to the crunch. And this is going to be a win. This is the positive set. Look at the crunch damage there. Zoroark clicks foul play. This will be enough to KO the Clodsire. And we get a positive set at 30-30 Elo with the highest attack team ever. As you can imagine, after that set, things went downhill rapidly. We move into our next match, going up against Rise to the Occasion, and I basically just instantly lose the game. I have nothing on my team that beats Mandibuzz. Zoroark doesn't beat Mandibuzz, Sharpedo doesn't beat Mandibuzz, and you know Shadow Haunter is not going to be beating Mandibuzz. So I'm just in an incredibly awful spot. Sludge Bomb is going to land. I go for the foul play here just because he would have thrown 1 in the move, so I wanted to get at least some damage on the Mandibuzz, but things are looking terrible for me because I'm going to have to bring the Sharpedo in here, which means he's going to know my full line of 3, and he can just position his Pokemon accordingly, so that way he's going to have very good alignment. I'm going to let this through, but look how much damage an Aerial Ace does. Look at that. That's like 3/4 of my health bar. In comes Morpeko, and oh my goodness, I have 0 Pokemon that beat Morpeko. So this is very, very bad. They're going to be going for the Psychic Fangs and then form changing here, and they're going to fire off another move. I intentionally overfarmed hoping that I could Shadow Claw down, but as I'm going to learn, I can't Shadow Claw down here, so I'm forced to throw energy. And failing that Shadow Claw farm down, I just don't have a win con anymore. Well, realistically, I never had a win con in this game. In the back is Gengar. Oh my goodness, the spice. So we are having a battle of the Ghastly family here. I make it to the crunch, winning the CMP tie, hoping he'll let it go, you know, for the boys, but he does not. He's going to be shielding up the Gengar. And unfortunately, the moment that I saw that Mandibuzz, this game was basically over. Made it as close as I could, but I cannot win that game. We move to the next match, Shadow Haunter versus Shadow Alolan Ninetales, and it's Powder Snow. Powder Snow, I mean, these Powder Snows do add up quite a bit. We have identical pacing, 5 to the first, 4 to the second. So I will always be able to win the ones here. If my opponent wants to, they can overfarm and just shield and farm down. But my opponent only played to a CMP tie that they do not win. If they shield, I'm just going to let this go. This is great. I have a shield advantage. My entire team needs a shield advantage, so finally getting a shield advantage is great. I bring in Sharpedo, waterfall it all the way down, go Shark, go, and in comes Malamar. They're going to bank energy, bring in Azumarill, potentially trying to catch a crunch onto the Azumarill, but the catch attempt is unsuccessful, and now I get to launch Poison Fangs. And suddenly, I see a crystal clear win con. Malamar never really going to be able to farm down the Sharpedo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to farm up as much as I can, play to the CMP tie. We have the highest attack team in the entire Halloween Cup. We're never losing a CMP tie ever, and now we can make it to the crunch on the Malamar. Realistically, the better play would have been to bank the crunch and switch, because they would have had to superpower to KO the Zoroark, and then the crunch guaranteed knocks out. But even with my slightly imprecise play, a win is a win. We move to the next match, leading into a Drifblim. That's a bad lead. I have to switch out into Zoroark, and I'm met with Drapion, and this is already just like a lost game, unfortunately. I overfarm a lot. I'm bluffing like a Flamethrower or a move I don't have. My opponent is going to shield. They farm all the way down. I bring in Sharpedo, but this crunch is going to devastate the Sharpedo. Look at that damage. They get the debuff as well. They farm me all the way down. And this is what a lot of losses look like for this team, is oftentimes you don't even get to see their third Pokemon, because when you're building a team and your only characteristic is how high is your attack stat, you're not really thinking about trying to build a balanced team, because you are limited to the highest attack Pokemon allowed in the format. In comes Drifblim. Drifblim gonna get met with a Shadow Punch. Shadow Punch nearly one-shots in the back, is going to be a Grimer, and it is going to be the Alolan Grimer, which means that I am resistant to poison jabs, but unfortunately for me, Ice Punch, not going to be enough to knock out here. I go for the Ice Punch on the CMP tie, but the Grimer survives. So, at the very least here, I did get to see their third, which is better than I did in a lot of games, but that's still not going to be a win. Shadow Haunter versus Azumarill. We saw this lead once before. A playable lead for the Haunter. I farm up a lot. I bluff a potential Sludge Bomb, because a Shadow Sludge Bomb would be devastating for an Azumarill. Azumarill shields, and now I can guarantee a one-shield win just going triple Shadow Punch. My opponent is going to fire off the Ice Beam. As I did before, I was going to throw 4 in the move, but they switch out into Drapion. Drapion going to get smacked with an Ice Punch. That does big damage. In comes Sharpedo, getting the catch and the Waterfall Sneak. This catch does not look like a catch, as Aqua Tail erases half my HP in an instant. In comes Azumarill. Azumarill, I try to CMP with a Sharpedo, but the Azumarill is not going to let that happen. Poison Fang into Azumarill, does get shielded. I get a lot of waterfall damage though, and this here I bring in the Zoroark expecting a switch out, and it's going to be Clodsire in the back. And this honestly does feel like this is a game that I can win. So the foul play is going to land. I just have to wait for them to throw energy here, shield, and then I should be one off of a move with the Haunter. So I shield their Stone Edge. You can't double up with Stone Edge, which means I can safely switch and snipe with the Ice Punch. Again, Shadow Punch may have been enough, but I wanted just to guarantee the knockout. In comes Azumarill. Azumarill gets the farm down, but guess who banked the move? We are going to win every single CMP tie with this team. Foul play KOs the Azumarill, and we're able to take the win. Shadow Haunter versus Shadow Gardevoir. Allegedly a positive lead. Malamar save switch. I'm going to switch into Zoroark, and immediately I have regrets. I should have gone Sharpedo, but at the very least, I can shield once and fire off my move before they get the next superpower here. So I'm going to farm up. Oh no! The miscount. And that's probably going to doom me. The miscount here, as I accidentally farm too much. And that is just a disastrous mistake from me. You can't make misplays when you're running a team like this, because you will get punished. Now I have no shields for a Shadow Haunter, Shadow Sharpedo core. I'm absolutely finished. In the back is going to be Galarian Moltres. Galarian Moltres is going to make the Ancient Power before I get a move. And I'm just going to have to top left this one, because the Sucker Punches will do way too much. After chatting with Callum, he mentioned there's a Pokemon that's not ranked on PB Poke because it's so bad, but it's allowed and it has an even higher attack stat. So for these final 2 games, we have switched out Zoroark for Blacephalon. Blacephalon has a stat product in the 1200s. It is an incredibly unserious Pokemon, and we've now added it to the team because we just didn't have enough glass in our lives. Here, my opponent's staying in with the Ariados, which is a pretty good sign for me. I'm going to unleash the Shadow Punch, and I'm able to force the final shield. I know a Lunge is not going to KO here. It's heavily resisted, so I'm going to let that through. I farm up, and we actually simultaneously switch Blacephalon into Araquanid. Araquanid unfortunately outpaces, and a Bubble Beam would probably do massive damage here with how glassy I am. I'm now debuffed, but I think I can still get a Shadow Ball and a farm down. Go for the Shadow Ball. I'll get the farm down. No, they live on 1 HP. No, and I'm going to lose my move because a Bubble Beam KOs from here. Blacephalon is too glassy. Oh, disastrous outcome there. That is so unfortunate. In the back is going to be Drapion. I fire off the Ice Punch. Shadow Ice Punch is going to do a ton to the Drapion. In comes Sharpedo. I have to get an energy lead to outpace the Ariados, but they make a move. Ariados able to make it to the Trailblaze. Trailblaze is going to KO. I exit with energy, but I don't have a move for the Drapion. That game felt very winnable, but misplays by me. I thought I could get the farm down with Blacephalon, and I did not get it. Hopping into the final match, great lead leading into a Skeledirge. Opponent save switches into a Charge-a-Bug, and since switching takes a turn, I can throw 6 in the move here, and it's perfect timing. I grab a shield from my opponent. I'm going to switch out into Blacephalon. I tried to do 1 and a switch out there, but unfortunately the game forced an overtap, so it's 2 and a switch out, and that means they're going to get both discharges here. So unfortunately, not being able to time the switch in the exact timing that I wanted means that I am down a shield, but I have a Shadow Ball loaded. And even if they send in something like a Greninja, a Shadow Ball would hurt. Here, I'm going to wait to make sure they don't catch it, and I'm going for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball gets the KO. They let it go. In the back is Toxapex. I'm just going to debuff them with a Mystical Fire, switch out into the Haunter, and let's get to work. Haunter able to get the back-to-back Shadow Punches, and we are in business. Shadow Punch shielded up, but there's more where that came from. Another Shadow Punch is going to be taking Toxapex into the red health. Toxapex has to try and farm down if they want a chance, but it's not going to happen. The Shadow Haunter makes the Shadow Punch, knocking out the Toxapex, and that is a good game. All in all, I had a ton of fun getting to run this team and the later version of the team where we ended up subbing in Blacephalon. As I mentioned at the start, the first set that I did with this team managed to somehow miraculously get a 3-2. The sets that followed it obviously involved many losses, so definitely would not recommend this team if you're looking to gain elo. This was more so just a team for fun now that I have hit legend, looking to, for a change, run some very glassy, very attack weighted Pokemon and see if we can have some fun along the way. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.